Hello, welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live, brought to you by NordVPN. My name is Daniel Caw. I'm delighted to be joined by Record Sports Keith Jackson and Michael Gannon, and also our weekly columnist Ryan Stevenson. Ryan, how's it going?
All good, mate, all good. Thanks for having me on.
It's always a pleasure, Keith. We've had some technical gremlins.
Time do you call us?
We're getting a lot of stick in the comments.
Rightly so.
Luke says red card for us. Max says my watch faster of Dan and Keith going on their holidays.
Oh man, sorry. Apologies to everybody. Technical disasters. I'm not even sure. By the way, they've sent a spacecraft to the other side of the moon with less technical difficulties than we've been having here tonight. So anyway, here we are.
Mac, how you doing?
I'm good. I was starting to worry that how long I was going to be here. I want to watch the Masters tonight, guys. So
Exactly.
Just getting the Masters viewing.
Well, let's get cracking on then, because I know Ryan's a busy man too. I guess the best place for us to start, Ryan, your take on the fixture splits and the post-split fixtures. What's your thoughts on it?
Listen, mate, do you know what? It is what it is. I think there's always going to be one team happy and another couple of teams not happy between the three going for the title. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm trying not to jump on excuses or make it a reason why, you know, something happens if Hearts don't go on and win the title, or if Rangers don't, for the Rangers end, do they make that an excuse? It is what it is. They have to play each other. It's going to be exciting, obviously. But from a Hearts point of view, it's a difficult split. But as is Rangers, and I think Celtic have obviously probably got the best out of the three. But yeah, it is what it is, and they just need to get on with it. And for Ollies, it's just going to be exciting end to the season.
Ryan, I hesitate to bring this up, big man, right? Don't take it the wrong way.
Is Keith asking me a question, Dan?
Yes. Can you hear him?
I can't hear Keith.
More technical issues. Magic.
So you relate to me then, since we're in technical difficulties.
I'll translate.
Okay, so just say to him, it was only last week he said Hearts are 2 wins from the title. All they had to do was beat Motherwell and Falkirk and Motherwell. No, sorry, Livingston and Motherwell. This is going well, isn't it? So how's he feeling about that now?
Aye. So Ryan, Keith wants to know, last week you said that Hearts might just be 2 wins from the title. I think it was Livingston and Motherwell. How are you feeling about that now?
There's 6 wins for the title now. Mate, do you know what? Listen, it was a disappointing result at the weekend. I think in stages they played okay. I think when they went 2-1 up, you expected it. I expected them to go and sort of kick on, and at that stage I thought it could have been 3 or 4. But honestly, with the last 5-6 minutes, I genuinely thought this is a disaster written all over it. So at the end up, mate, do you know what? I was happy that, not saying I'm happy they went away with a point, but at least they got something out of the game. And they need to obviously win at the weekend. It's a massive game at home. Motherwell have been on a wee bit of a slump, and I think it's so important that they get to Tynecastle, they go, and I think they've got to attack Motherwell. I think they've got to press them for the front, because I think Motherwell are loads better when teams sit off them, which a lot of teams have been doing. And I think Hearts just have to go at it. But ultimately, it's a straight shootout between the three of them now. I still think there'll be points dropped on all sides, and it'll really just be somebody's going to need a bit of luck, and whoever can sort of just get over the line effectively, because I think that's what it's going to be. Having done the Rangers game in Saturday as well, I thought they looked good in spells, but I thought they still looked vulnerable, and I thought Celtic looked vulnerable at times as well against Dundee. So, do you know what? Who knows? Who knows? All I know is it's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting end to the season.
I know Hearts away form has fallen off a bit, 1 point for the last 12, but I strongly fancy them, Mick, this weekend against Motherwell. Do you share my confidence?
Yeah, but then again, I thought I expected them to go and win at Livingston at the weekend. I didn't expect that one. And we're now at the point now, there is no shock result any weekend. Like, if Rangers trip up at Falkirk, would I be surprised? No. If Celtic lose at home or drop points at St Mirren with a prize? No. So Hearts against Mull, I wouldn't be shocked with any result now. Listen, the whole season, is it still the case that only one game, only one weekend all season, all three have won?
That's correct, aye.
Incredible, you think about it, a three-way title race, and there's only one weekend they've all actually managed to pick up 3 points. So I expect someone out of three to drop points this weekend, but which one, I don't know. Well, now at the stage, it's going to be, and people keep saying this, 5 wins or 6 wins wins the title. Nobody's getting 6 wins. I don't think any of them are getting 6 wins.
Nah, no chance.
I can't see it. I just can't see it. And after the split, you get Edinburgh Derby. I mean, you get the Old Firm Derby. I mean, you talk about Hearts away form. They've got 3 out of 5 away from home. People talk about Celtic at home. I mean, Celtic haven't been great at home. They've lost to Hearts and Rangers and Hibs at home this season. So I think it's going to be a case of anything can happen on a weekly basis.
And the thing is as well, Ryan, is that although a lot has been said about Hearts away form, as I just mentioned, their home form, they're still unbeaten at home. Which I don't know talking about. They're really strong.
Yeah, listen, their home form's been brilliant. And I think that's why it's pivotal they have to win this weekend. I think they just have, however they do it, they just have to get 3 points this weekend. Then going into the split, I think it would give them again just another bit of confidence to go and kick on. So they're going to have to win all games at home, and they're going to have to pick stuff up obviously away from home. The away form does worry me a little, but the only saving grace, I said to Keith during the week, was their record against the top 6 is miles better this season than what it's been against the bottom 6. So if that's anything to go on, is when they play the bigger teams, they always seem to find a way. They always seem to raise their game. They always seem to play better. And I'm just hoping that's the case, obviously, getting into the last 6 games of the season. And
with Shanklin back, Devlin back, Finlay as well, that's a big one for me.
Do you want me to tell you something that I think's a bit... I'm saying a saving game. I don't actually know if he's suspended for this weekend, but I'm not entirely sold on Mark Leonard and Cammy Devlin playing together.
Interesting.
That's the one thing that I don't know whether it's better with Benny in there. Would you go back to just Benny and Cammy? But Mark's been absolutely excellent since he came in, and filling that hole when Cammy's been out. But do you go with Benny's experience? You know, just how good a player he is, and you know it's only 6 games. Can you get him through these 6 games? The partnership that him and Cammy have. Maybe girls in the back here, so sorry.
Who does she fancy?
She fancies Hearts as well, mate. Don't worry about that. For me, I think he's got some big decisions. As you're saying, Finlay will come back, which is massive. I think the 2 in midfield is just such a big decision to make. And I think if Mark's suspended, I'm not sure if he is. I know they were appealing it. I just wonder if he would go with Cammy and Benny in there. And then obviously have Lawrence and Claudio up the top doing their thing as well.
And McKinnon, the comments there you can see on your screen says Magnusson has been a miss attacking from midfield.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Again, probably not the prettiest on the eye. If a bit like myself, to be fair, as a player, didn't really want to get involved in all the fancy sort of technical passes and things like that. But what a threat going forward, and he can get in the box. He can score big goals at big time. So he's been a definite miss as well. Obviously, Harry Milne should be back, I'm sure, this weekend as well, which was a miss at the weekend. So they have to do everything they possibly can to get all the best players on the pitch. And then it's down to Derek to pick the best team, or the team that he thinks can go and win. I think they've got to just take every game as a cup final. And I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact that the fans themselves will be alongside the players trying to edge them on. Again, I said it in my column. I mean, they're 6 games away from utter greatness. Like, when you actually break it all down, it's 6 games away from winning a league. I mean, 40 years. It's just, it's crazy, mate. Absolutely crazy. So it's right there for them, and hopefully they can just go and grab it.
And just before we let you go, Ryan, I'm nailing everyone this week. I'm putting them all on the spot. I did it to Mick the other day on the Record Celtic podcast. I think I'm right in saying, Mick, you think Rangers have got the edge at the minute?
I can't remember what I said last night or the Tuesday. Or, I don't know. I keep, every week I change my mind. I think I said Rangers are looking at the more formed team right now.
Aye.
Aye, I think aye. But that was before. That was before Nagiri gets injured and a few other things. So
Aye, that's true. Aye,
I'm think about it again.
Where are you, Ryan? Are you still confident? Keith, I know, is still on his big maroon horse. He's sticking with Hearts. But,
yeah, I'm still sticking. Listen, 15 games to go. I said Hearts. I said obviously if they had managed to get a result at Livingston and then managed to beat Motherwell, I thought they were an absolute shoe-in. I'm not. There is apprehension. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but I still think. I just. Do you know what? Do you know what I'm going on? The fact that when they've played the bigger teams, they have always produced this season, and I genuinely think if they go on Saturday and get a result going into that split, I just think it'll just gather momentum again. So I'm going to go with Hearts. I have to go with Hearts.
People, you reckon it's made for this final game of the season against Celtic to be a Hearts win and a Rangers to put Rangers the title with Celtic out of it, and Celtic potentially handing the title to Rangers? Or can you see that scenario? I can see that unfolding now.
I think. Listen, probably. Do you know what? I just hope for. I hope Hearts win it as a Hearts fan. See that he just is a Scottish football, somebody that loves football in Scotland, and for our game, I hope it goes to the last game of the season. I genuinely do. Because could you imagine the last game of the season? We're going to Celtic Park. Hearts have got an opportunity to win it. Celtic have got an opportunity to win it. Can you imagine Rangers are still, however it works out? I just hope it goes to the last game, and then I hope Hearts win it. And I'll be the happiest guy ever because we can then go into a World Cup on the back of probably what's been one of the most exciting seasons in Europe, and for us for how many decades. It'll be the best season of my life, and I just hope that the last 5 games just keeps it going and it just turns into an absolutely blockbuster of a season.
Aye. Amen to that. Ryan, we'll let you get on, but thanks so much for joining us.
Perfect, lads. No worries. See you later on.
Cheers, Ryan. All the best.
Cheers, Keith. That was the best I've heard you, mate.
This is great, isn't it?
Yeah, see you later.
Cheers, Ryan. Are you still with us, Keith? Let me just confirm.
Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
excellent.
I'm at my wit's end, Daniel. I'm at my wit's end.
How to put Jacko in the corner.
Well, look.
By the way, see, before we go any further, one of the reasons that it was a bit late into the studio was I was clattering out a story which just came to light kind of moments before we came on air, and I think it's worth a mention, and I think it's worth probably a few mentions between now and the rest of the season, and probably when we get Des Roach on Monday night. FIFA have just published a list of 180 officials for the World Cup in the summer. I think it's 52 refs, 88 assistant referees, and 30 VAR specialists. It includes 6 women, but it doesn't include a single Scottish official.
That is mortifying.
How bad is that?
That is really embarrassing.
For Willie Collum, it's mortifying.
But see, to be fair, I can't really argue with it based on this season.
No, but it was, by the way, it's also picked by Pierluigi Collina, the legendary Italian referee. He's now the top man at FIFA in terms of, I think, chairman of the refereeing committee or something. So he's handpicked it, and he's talked about these referees and officials being picked on merit, on performances. There's a couple of English referees, Michael Oliver and I forget the other one. But for us not to have even just a linesman, we can't even do just a linesman. I think it's hugely embarrassing.
It's pretty bad. But as I say, Mike,
you look at the list of countries that are represented. I mean, there's Qatar officials, there's Jordan officials, there's Chinese, 3 from China. You're thinking, I mean, surely the nation that actually invented the game should have some sort of representation there in terms of the officials. We made up the rules for football.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. We actually invented football rules, and yet haven't got anyone who's actually applying them.
Oh, man.
So it's an absolute embarrassment, really.
That's a sore one. And, you know, often we can be highly critical of our referees, rightly so, as it transpires. But you often get this thing, but officials all over the place. Everybody's struggling with this and everything. But there's the cast iron proof of the matter that Pierluigi Collina has assessed referees all over the world, and he's looked at our lot and thought, "There's not one of you deserve a plane ticket." That's a bad one.
That's really bad, aye.
There's a Uzbekistan official going. In Venezuela. Literally,
Venezuela. Anybody got a Scottish guy?
Artemis picked up 3 VAR officials in the moon the way back. I don't know getting on the list.
That is absolutely mortifying. To bring it back to domestic matters, though, let me throw this one at you guys. John in the comments says, I reckon Rangers will drop points away to Falkirk on Sunday. And I've got to say, probably agree with him. I think Falkirk will get a result.
Mick said it. If that happens, nobody will be really surprised. Can't be surprised now. We've reached this point in the season where anything could happen at any point in any of the matches concerning the top 3. I personally think Rangers will go and get a result at Falkirk. I don't think it will be easy for them by any stretch of the imagination. Falkirk are a right good side. Yeah. And see, if it hadn't been for Motherwell this season, Falkirk would be the ones that were getting all the platitudes and the pats in the head, because what John McGlynn is achieving there is nothing short of remarkable. And they're also playing football, a really enjoyable brand of football. Yes, they've got a plastic pitch, but it's a very good one. There is nothing bad to be said about Falkirk. And on their day, they are easily capable. I think Rangers have played them twice and failed to beat them twice so far this season. So there's absolutely every chance of that. But I just think that Rangers are picking up a bit of momentum. And I think, by the way, if they go there and they drop points, they're more or less sending out a message that they don't have the bottle for this. Because what comes next? Yes, they've got Motherwell at home in the split, but then it's Hearts away, Celtic away. Rangers really need to be flawless before they go into these 2 games. If they want to be serious about it, they can get a pat in the back if they want. But how many times do Rangers present themselves at this point of the season as the close but no cigar FC? And if they want to change that and they're serious about changing it, and Danny Rowe certainly appears to be giving it his best shot, then they can't contemplate coming out of Falkirk on Sunday lunchtime with anything less than 3 points.
You mentioned the other night, Mick, that it would be a major gaffe in many ways if Rangers don't win it from here.
I think so. I mean, you look at where the points totals are going. I think it might even be sub 80 points now. I thought 80 was going to be at 82, 84. I think even less than 80 points might get the job done. So to that to be the total, when you look at the seasons when Rangers had 90 points, 89 points, 93 one year and lost the title, to fail to win the league when it's an 80-point season would be, I think, is a major, especially having spent so much money. I know there was mistakes made in the summer, but have invested heavily and hoping that Celtic came in a bit. They got the first part of that. The Celtic did reel themselves in, like they tipped themselves up to come back in. Hearts have been the unknown quantity that have come out from nowhere to compete as well. But I think it would be a major opportunity missed if Rangers don't win this title from here. I think they've had 3 wins in a row. I think there was questions asked when the back-to-back games against Celtic, the cup defeat and then the league draw before that. I think that asked a lot of questions and a lot of doubts came out at that point about Bottle. Those games were kind of weird, right enough. I mean, Celtic kind of just had to avoid defeat in those games and managed to kind of scrape through, especially the cup time. Celtic had a short goal. I think, but they responded to it with 3 wins, which I think is actually a really strong response to the questions about the Bottle crashing. But they need to continue it. They can't drop points. And then they've got the situation now. They're the last one to play this weekend now. And we know that messes with minds. The results come in on the Saturday. The team that plays last can be the one under the most pressure. So it could be that the Hearts and Celtic get results on the Saturday and they're the ones that are going to have to play catch-up. It could be the other 2 slip up and it's a chance to go top of the table again. But in the realm now of listen, the problem is, not the problem, the exciting thing is within the 3 of them, none of these 3 teams control games particularly well. It's chaos. Every game is in the balance. Every game is chaos. Even last week with Rangers, dominant but flaky at times. So every game, Celtic can't control a game for 90 minutes. Hearts don't play that way. They play games that are competitive every week. So every game is going to be a knife edge. So you can't really put your house on anyone at any given weekend. which makes it a thrill, like, that's for sure.
Aye. But
Okay.
I know that St Mirren are improved, but I'd fancy Celtic to beat St Mirren at the weekend, Keith.
Right, that's St Mirren last weekend. I wouldn't bet on their money on that either. They've had a real pick up as well. They
style.
They've taken off the handbrake a little bit.
McLeish has come into that job, and you think what would you expect? You'd expect, right, well, this is a team that's been built by Stephen Robertson. It's built and designed to do one or to play one style of football. You just think the new guy would come in and just keep it ticking over in the exact same way. He's totally changed it. They're now a team that's building out from the back, that's passing the ball through the thirds. Completely different St Mirren, but they've still got that physical side. So I think that I genuinely think that they'll present a stiff test to Celtic. I expect Celtic to win it, but we are getting into these stages now where you know what, at the start of the season or at the start of a new season, you're looking at St Mirren going to Celtic Park, Celtic laying down a marker, putting on a show, scoring goals, taking a 4-0, something like that. Celtic will sign right now, and so they should do, for a 1-goal victory at the weekend. And Mick's right. This St Mirren side, they don't only offer up the physical challenge that they did previously, and that was enough to do Celtic in the League Cup final, but they've now got a very different style of play and approach, and that'll pose all sorts of different questions as well. I think that could be a right good game. And of course, Motherwell go to Tynecastle. I mean, and now I know Motherwell feel as if they're running out a little bit of steam, and that's understandable given the season that they've had and the amount of games some of their major players have played. But you tell me they're not capable of going to Tynecastle and lifting themselves for that one? Bet they are. So yeah, I genuinely, I think it might be only the second weekend of the season, but all three win. And the only reason I say that is because they all know what's the other side of these fixtures. It's the post-split running. Now, the last game going into the split is not the time to drop points. And I think there has to be an awareness of that in all three of these dressing rooms going into this weekend. In
the comments, Alistair Ramage is back, Keith. His campaign to get James Tavernier out of Rangers still going strong. He says if Tavernier plays, Rangers will lose. Singing the blues is
for Alistair. I think Tavernier might well play him.
I think he may as well.
Because it wouldn't surprise me if Rangers shifted over and Dujon Sterling played on the left in the left back position, just to make them a little bit more solid, robust. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Sterling to left back, and that means Alistair's favourite will captain the team from right back if that's the case.
And Singing the Blues in the comments says we need more Mick Gannon. He's the only one that talks sense. So on that note, Sing the Blues has just been blocked.
Someone's drinking early. Someone's drinking early this weekend.
There's a couple of bits of Celtic news that I want to get your guys' take on. Obviously talked Hearts with Ryan Stevenson. We just mentioned Rangers there. But Celtic, we haven't spoke to you, Mick, since the news about the Green Brigade returning to Celtic. What is your thoughts on that? Is it a bonus to Celtic? Will it give them a lift? We were speculating last night that if the results don't go Celtic's way, it could actually become a bit toxic.
But listen, it feels a bit like, I mean, I like to torture my analogies. It's like seeing you have a big fight with the wife or going to a wedding or something like that. You go, right, put on a brave face, and we can resume the hostilities when we get home. It's a very much a kind of, right, okay, everyone on board for the final kind of push. No one's particularly, I don't think Celtic are particularly still not convinced that the Green Brigade are going to fully behave themselves. They're doing it through gritted teeth. I think the Green Brigade are coming back in, knowing fine well the same issues that have been there all season are still there. But it seems like kind of, I don't want to use that metaphor at the moment, what's going on in the world, but a kind of temporary ceasefire. It does feel like a kind of, right, okay, let's park everything. Let's park all the issues, all the anger and angst, and try and be unified for the final push. They have got 4 games out of 6 at home. So they could do with Celtic Park being back to being somewhere that teams don't like going, because at the moment it's not a fortress, it's a bouncy castle. Teams aren't worried about going there. They're actually using the crowd to their advantage against Celtic. this season. We heard John McGlynn talking about it earlier in the season. I've heard others mention it, that they can go there and sit tight for 20 minutes and turn the crowd against them. That can't happen in these 4 games. There's going to be times when Celtic are going to be struggling. They're going to be behind probably in games, as they are in most games this season. So they need the supporters to all be behind them. Listen, I think we sometimes go overboard about this. It's 250 fans that have been banned. I mean, it's not as if it's been like 15,000.
Yeah.
But the PR of them getting back in and creating a bit of noise, I think, might be a boost. I noticed a wee change at the Motherwell game at Parkhead last month when they went behind. It seemed a bit more positive and a bit less of a kind of focus on the board and director's box rather than on the pitch. But so that has to be the way for Celtic for the next four home games. They have to be concentrating on the pitch, because I think this Celtic team and manager need all the help they can get, really, because everyone knows it's a patchwork side due to injury and recruitment. They've got Martin O'Neill in charge, 74 years old. I mean, goodness knows how he's not knackered at this point, because I think the rest of us all are after a long season. So I think it's a case of, right, park everything and just get behind. But it's so uneasy that if Celtic go and get beat on Saturday, all bets are off, because they're going to be howling at the director's box again, because the problems that are in the background. It's like I say, it's like when you have the argument with the wife before you go to the wedding. You come back with the wrong drink from the bar, you're going to get shouted at again. So it's still there. It's still going to be there. And whether or not they can all just play nice for the next 4 home games, who knows? But they should remember that there's a possibility of a really remarkable thing happening here. Celtic winning a title under Martin O'Neill again is an all-timer. I mean, that is something that they should relish for while it lasts. They've only got another 4 home games to enjoy that situation. Then he'll be off into the sunset. So why not just put your animosity to one side and try and support the team for the next few weeks?
Well, the Celtic fan collective have come out today and suggested exactly that, Keith. Delay till the final day is what they're asking for. I mean, we talked about it a bit last night, but what was your thoughts on the Green Brigade coming back?
Look, do you know what? Good for them. Bring their drums, make the noise and all this. But it's not changing anything. And what I'd be very wary about is, see if Celtic do go over the line. Let's bear in mind, it's nothing to do with the board. Right? All they've done, it would be, if Martin O'Neill does this, it's in spite of what the board have done. Board have done pretty much all they can to sabotage Celtic season by downgrading the playing squad all across the board, right? It's nothing to do with the fans of the Green Brigade either, because they've not done much to forge some sort of unity and bond. It's been divisive and toxic. So if Celtic do this, it's despite that element of their support as well. And what I wouldn't like, because I see all this, you know, the narrative now is changing. Oh, great, the Green Brigade's coming back. The Green Brigade's going to win us the title. Really? What position are they playing? Now, I appreciate it will make a difference to the atmosphere, and that's good. That's a good thing. Makes it, you know, noisy and a better environment to play games of football in. Once they're sticking to just supporting the team, that's all very well and good. But don't give me this. It's the Green Brigade what won it. If Celtic going to win this title, it's Martin O'Neill that's won it, and he's done it with almost 2 hands tied behind the back of his baggy tracksuit, because of all the circumstances and the warring factions around about him. So yeah, I hope that they come back in and behave themselves properly, support their team. But I fear the worst, because as Mick just said, just can you imagine what that place looks like when the final whistle goes on Saturday afternoon if St Mirren have got a 2-0 win? Do you think they'll behave themselves, they'll walk away, they won't be screaming for changes and all sorts of vitriol flying about? I don't believe it for a second. In fact, what I would say to you is, I would imagine they'll be straight outside into the car park and outside the main stand, and we'll see scenes that we've seen before. So Celtic are doing what they have to do here. As I said last night, Daniel, this is now short-term FC. Yeah. They've just got to try and hold it all together and get to a point where they can finish this season and put it to bed, and then deal with whatever they need to deal with in the summer. But yeah, I can see positives in the Green Brigade coming back and the stadium being a bit more noisy. But I'm telling you now, it could turn terribly the flip side of the coin, if St Mirren look as if they're going to take something away for that place at the weekend, it really could, and the whole thing could blow up in everybody's face.
Francis in the comments says, Keith said in August Celtic's biggest threat this season was themselves, and sadly he was correct. And Big Rab says Engels being back is just as important as the Green Brigade being back. Are you having that, Mick? I know Keith last night was given that short shrift, but what do you think of Engels being back?
It wasn't so long ago photo weren't Engels at the team, and now he's absence makes the heart grow fonder, as always. Players who don't play are always turn to world beaters, don't they? I actually do think he is a decent player, and he'll be handy to have him back. It might allow Celtic to start him and be a bit more kind of selective with Oxlade-Chamberlain, whose fitness is getting better, but he's still not there yet in terms of 90 minutes, which is another issue this season. I think is going into April, which is madness. So yeah, I think it will be a major boost. The problem,
starts, Nick.
What's that? Sorry,
does Engels start? Does Engels walk straight into that starting 11?
I wouldn't have thought so at this point in time. Not quite yet. I thought Celtic played well the first half at the weekend, well enough for the. I think that was probably one of the better performances. I think what I do think that Engels helps with, he's very good in terms of positionally and building and keeping the shape. I think sometimes Celtic have been a bit ragged and their pressing gets a bit all over the camp. A bit better the weekend again. I thought that was a bit better. Dyson Maeda helped that as well. I just think Engels is a good all-round football player. Also, he's got the set pieces are decent at times. Yeah, it's an issue. I don't think that area of the pitch is really the problem. I think, as has been the case all season, is who comes out the tombola up front.
Who's going to score now?
Who comes out the tombola to play up front? As Sutty keeps saying, he's tombola, Martin Tombola. I just think, I don't know who Celtic can hang their hat on to score the goals. That's the problem that Celtic have got. So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, who would you guys go with on Saturday? Would you go Iheanacho or?
You've got to stick with Iheanacho after what he did at the weekend for me. And to be fair, it's not just what he did from a brief cameo from the bench. When he's played, he has looked like the most sort of fully rounded centre forward option that Celtic have got.
You could argue he has, Keith, actually.
Was that?
He's looked quite well rounded actually at times.
Yeah, that's been part of the problem. Yeah. I thought he looked as if he was in better nick when he came off the bench at Dens Park. It actually looked to me as if he's been given a bit of a beasting at training over the international break just to get himself into a better physical condition. But you know what I mean, Mick, in terms of he can play as a centre forward with his back to the centre half. Listen, he's not lightning quick, but he can get off the shoulder. He's shown that as well recently. He showed that with the one shot he had at Tannadice, where he rolls the defender, gets in on a shot on goal, gets the shot away nice and early. He's got all the sort of attributes that you would hope for in a centre forward. Maybe not the physical side that Martin O'Neill would prefer, right enough. But for me, the way he took his goal at the weekend just sums it up, that he is Celtic's best bet. And I know I'm going to bore you to death with this, but I keep saying it. Hearts have got Shankland and Braga. That's one of the major reasons why I'm still backing them to do this. And I think if Celtic or Rangers are to really take this argument all the way this season, one or both of them are going to have to find a striker that can weigh in with 6 or 7 goals in the remaining matches. And Iheanacho looks like the only one at Celtic where you would think that might be possible.
The problem that O'Neill's got and the dilemma he's got is if he starts Iheanacho, that's fair enough. He's the best striker they've got. He's the most likely to get a goal. But if you get to 50 minutes and he hasn't got enough, then you're looking to a bench with guys who you really don't trust to score a goal. Yeah. So whereas if you're in the game and you need a goal late on or half an hour to go and you bring him on, at least he's a threat to get a goal at that point. So you have to flip it. Do you play him and hope that you get a lead, or do you keep him on the bench and if you
win the game without him?
This is the dilemma they're in, because he's not going to get 90 minutes out of him. So I suspect that he might be kept on the bench for that reason. That Martin O'Neill's quite a cautious manager anyway. That's his nature. So I think he might think, I need to have him in reserve. I need him to give me half an hour. If it's nothing each after an hour, I need half an hour at him. at his best.
But
Whereas playing for an hour and he runs at a puff without scoring is a problem because Chankara looks like a man low on confidence.
I was going to say, look, I hear your argument, and by the way, there's a lot of sense in it. But Martin O'Neill's not a stupid man, and he sat and watched Fanchara for how long at the weekend, looking. Well, I'm not going to be unkind. Let's just say he had a really bad afternoon. So does Martin O'Neill say, well, we can forget about that because if we keep Kelechi on the bench, he might nip on and scores a goal late on, and we just go with Chavanchara again up front on the back of that? I don't think he can do that, Mick.
No, I know, but this is the dilemma because he done it at Tannadice. He played Iheanacho up front at Tannadice, and after an hour, after 50 minutes, he was done. And he got a chance and didn't take it.
Yeah, and
it brought on Chankara and were hopeless the second half at Tannadice. So he's a total dilemma. It's the old blanket. It's not quite long enough. You pull it up, and your feet get cold. You pull it down, your head gets cold.
That is true. That's a very good point. I hadn't thought of it that way, Mick. But you've illuminated it.
John Toshak actually mentioned that about 25 years ago. I worked in there. The John Toshak line.
The other thing about Celtic is the right back is becoming a real issue. Colby Donovan is out now. Celtic waiting for the outcome of a scan. Obviously, Alistair Johnson's out. Rebel is one of a few people in the comments saying, can Sirachi play right back, Mick? I don't think I've seen him do that yet, have we?
Listen, by the way, the same problem we've got in Iheanacho. Sirachi can't play 90 minutes. He's not managed all season. He's never got fit. He arrived lacking match fitness, never got up to speed, got injured for 3 months, 4 months. He's never got up to fitness. He can't do 90 minutes either. Listen, Anthony Ralston's still there. I mean, Tony Ralston's an experienced player. All right, you maybe lose a bit in terms of his ability to go and forward with the ball, but he's an experienced guy. He's been done it, so he's still there. It's an area. It's a worry for Celtic. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Orojo, I mean, has been a big blow. It's an area it's been bad for Celtic all season because losing Johnson, you don't just lose that kind of tenacity and defensive capability. You lose him going forward. Orojo's not the same player as Johnson going forward. And Celtic have lost that attacking right back they've had for the last 2 years. And it's been a major problem because the wingers are hopeless. You get it on the other side with Kieran Tierney or Sirachi, but the right side, you're not getting that attacking production line. And the right wing has been an issue all year as well. When Yang's been doing that now, he's now the main man. The guy was out the door in the summer and was out the door again in January. They spent all January trying to find a replacement for Yang and are back using Yang. So the right side's been an issue all season for Celtic.
Yeah.
And now they've got a Tony Ralston who must be desperately low in confidence as well, because not only was he's kind of relegated to second choice this season, he's been relegated to third choice right back. A young boy in Colby Donovan playing in front of him, and he looks at when you see Tony Ralston coming on the pitch now, I think he looks a bit nervous. I think he looks like a player
even Hatate was playing ahead of him at Tannadice, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's like there's been a period of time here where it's felt like anybody but Tony Ralston.
Yeah,
and the boy's not daft. I mean, if you were hanging about Lennoxtown and you're thinking, God, they are desperate not to put me in that starting 11, that affects your confidence. You need to be not human for that not to register somehow. So, and I feel quite sorry because he gets a bit of a hard time, Tony Ralston. He's a big, honest guy, and he'll try his best. But if his confidence is taking a dunt as well, that's a difficult one. But it looks very much as if Tony Ralston will be Celtic's right back for the foreseeable in this running.
I was going to wrap up, guys, by just quickly getting your predictions for all the games, but a little bit of breaking news on Hotline Live because Scotland captain Andy Robertson, whilst we've been on air, has confirmed he's leaving Liverpool. He'll leave at the end of the season. I know it's kind of been in the offing for a while.
Do you know something? I would see if I'd be on to him right now if I was his agent. Hold fire, go nowhere, because if you stay, you'll outlast the manager. The manager that doesn't rate you. And it's funny, I was having a conversation, obviously very fond of Liverpool. You now look at players like Van Dijk, Mo Salah, Andy Robertson. All the core group that were there under Jurgen Klopp, I think they're looking at this guy. They're not having him. To be honest with you, I think Daniel, Michael, me, we could have went down and formed Liverpool's management team and won the league after Jurgen Klopp left. Because all you had to do was just say to them, just go to do what Jurgen told you to do. And now he's gone a completely different way. He's brought Kerkez in at left back. Bag of nerves at the start. He's improved a little bit. He's still not as good as Andy Robertson for me.
No.
If I'm Andy Robertson, I can well understand why he's unhappy. Same way Van Dijk, his form is suffering. Salah has just fallen off a cliff edge. But I think this is all going back to the manager. I don't think they've got trust in him. And if I'm Andy Robertson, if he sees this manager off the premises in the summer, there's every chance he could be reinstalled as Liverpool's first choice left back for next season, if that's what he wants.
I mean, it's been, you look at Liverpool's Twitter feed, they have confirmed it. They said, we can confirm Andy Robertson will bring his Reds career to an end at the conclusion of the current season. And he's done an LFC TV interview talking about his amazing memories and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't think there's going to be any going back on it. But who knows? Celtic, perhaps, Mick?
That's it'd be a phenomenal signing for Celtic, but it's not really the direction that Celtic should really be kind of going down. Really, I mean, they should be looking to get back on track recruitment wise with bringing young, hungry players up that they can play and sell on. You get Kieran Tierney there as well. You get back to the. I don't know if I can handle the Kieran Tierney, Andy Robertson. How do you fit
on a weekly basis?
My heart just sunk there. Even thought that I'm not asking more questions about how they fit the two in the same team to a new manager. I don't know if I've got the heart for that. I think Andy will have a plenty of. Was he 32? Just turned 32, yep. Andy. I think he's got another season in the English Premier League in him, at least.
I think Rebel's just nailed it there. Rebel just come up with a comment saying he'll have signed a pre-contract. Absolutely right. That's the only reason for coming out now and doing this and going through the big official farewell channels. He's got his club. He knows where he's going.
Yeah.
And if he didn't, then you would probably go to the World Cup and try and showcase yourself there, because who knows what you could get. He's really highly rated. He's still one of the top-rated left-backs anywhere in Europe. And obviously Spurs were desperate to get him in January. Again, a situation which was really badly mishandled. It's a shame, because Andy Robertson has a deep affection and affinity with Liverpool and the people, fans. But it kind of feels as if he'll be leaving under a cloud. And I'm sorry, but it all points to it's just been a horrible season for Arne Slot. He won't survive. There's no way you'll see Arne Slot back in that dugout next season.
Yeah, listen, Andy Robertson will go down as a Liverpool legend. He'll always be held up. I mean, nobody really gets to have the kind of fairy tale ending anywhere, really. I mean, very few players get out at a time and it's waving goodbye with the cheers and all that stuff in the way and holding a trophy. It never happens. It never does. Now you look at it in Scotland. I mean, Scott Brown's last season was a COVID season, so wasn't it?
Yeah.
You never get that kind of end that you think you're going to get, but time's a great healer, and same as Salah at Liverpool. Eventually, in 2, 3, 5, 10 years, these boys will be held up as modern day greats. So
listen, Andy Robertson will go back and get a standing ovation from the Kop next season.
This season got some send off.
It's not the same case. He's not a Trent Alexander.
No,
who would get booed. And Andy Robertson, whatever he's playing next season, whatever shirt he's wearing, if he's back at Anfield, he'll get a hero's welcome from the Kop. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
AGSC Tech says, could Celtic really justify 2 blockbuster wages as left back to do a job share? It's a hard case to make financially. And Rebel points out 4 million was the bargain of the century for Liverpool. Didn't realise that was what they paid for him. Yeah, that's
incredible. It was 8 million. I think it was 8 million, but still,
it was a bit more. But even so,
some bargain. Yeah,
absolutely. Right, last thing, guys. The fixtures this weekend. Let's have a look. We've talked about a lot of them already, but the ones we haven't. Huge game, as every game is now, for Aberdeen. At home to Hibs, and Dundee United as well. We should mention Jim Goodwin is the new Premiership Manager of the Month. Was given that today. Hit me with a few predictions, guys.
Okay, I'll start. I think Hibs will win at Pittodrie. I think Celtic will face a real battle against St Mirren, but edge it by a goal. Dundee United Livingston, that's got a draw written all over it for me. Hearts, Motherwell, same as Celtic St Mirren. I think that's going to be an absolute cracker. And I think Hearts will edge it. And I'm just coming back to the reason for all that is, Dan, what I'm saying, these 3 sides, they just cannot even think about slipping up this weekend. So Hearts Motherwell, brilliant game. I think that's the one that I'd love to be at this weekend, actually. And I think Hearts will just shade it. Kilmarnock Dundee, I think Kilmarnock will take something from that, whether it's a draw or a win. Let's say a win, because I think Kilmarnock need it. And it would really then light a fire under Aberdeen, wouldn't it? And Falkirk Rangers, again, Rangers by a goal.
Mick, what's your thoughts?
Oh, Aberdeen, big trouble. Saw it at the weekend. Absolutely stunk the place out against St Mirren. Major problems. Hibs to go and win there and pile it on. I think they're playoff bound, and that playoffs could be, a nightmare for Aberdeen. They are in deep trouble. And you just took the fixtures away there now. Can you see them? Celtic will scrape it against St Mirren. Probably a last minute winner. They always score last minute against St Mirren. So it'll be another last 10-minute job. Major panic, but they'll get the result. United will beat Livingston. Livingston, I think, are the last week in a burst. I think they're now done. Hearts, I think, will edge it against Mull, but be a cracker and be in the balance again. Killie Dundee draw. Dundee have been really good of late, but come out at home are pretty tough. I think Rangers win at Falkirk convincingly.
Interesting. Well, look, whatever happens, guys, we will be back on Sunday to discuss it all. But for tonight, that brings us to the end of Hotline Live, brought to you by NordVPN.
Early on Sunday, Daniel.
I was going to actually ask you that, Keith. Rangers kick off at Falkirk at 12 o'clock. Are we in our usual 6 o'clock slot, or should we bring it forward?
I think we'll probably be... Well, keep an eye out, folks. It could be 4 o'clock, or it could be 4.
We'll update you on social media on Sunday. But we will be here on Sunday, and we hope you can join us then. Mick, Keith, it's always an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Daniel.
And
chaps.
Everyone watching at home, have a great weekend.
And I'll watch Bob McIntyre.
Thanks for watching.